Hello friend, welcome back. In this video, I want to discuss about after end of this our basic project section, what type of project we will build from to the scratch. I want to share that things with you. And here that I will create one of the complete professional company website with using that Laravel 12. And here as you see, it's very clean and very good looking one of the web application. So everything I will create it from to the scratch, and every part now here as you see, everything is totally dynamic. So with using that Laravel 12 from to the scratch, we will develop total applications. So for that applications area, each and everything is in here is dynamic. That will be our front end, and also there is another part that will be our back end. So from to the back end, you can able to actually manage your total entire project. So how can create some of the professional web application from to the scratch with using Laravel 12? I will show you everything step by step with the live example. Like here as you see is very good looking one of the application, and each and everything is in here is totally dynamic. That means all the data actually comes from to this our database, and for the database I have used it as a MySQL. Like here, if you go to that our first of all that is our home page, and that is also very much responsive one of the web application, and you can see it's very much responsive. So as I told you, everything is totally dynamic. Like first of all, that is one of the slider section, and into the slider area they have some of the text, they have some of the description, they have some of the images. So this all that information you can manage it from to your backend. And if you go to that our slider, and into the slider area, that is some of the title part, they have some of the link part, they have some of the description and the photo slide. So here also you will use that image intervention throughout this. How can upload some of the images? I will share that things with you. Which user is logging this user related profile, you can able to update it. You can also change that which user is logging this user related change password functionality. I will also discuss about how can add that two-factor authentication. So how can use that two-factor authentication in Laravel. Everything I will show you with the live example. Not only that, here I have actually added two different parts, like that will be very interactive into the modern web applications area. Like here that is actually our slider, and into the slider they have one of the title. Like if you make changes something new in here, I just name it as a new. Okay, and here from to the backend I just simply updated this our title, and now if you click as a save changes, that is a slider updated without image successfully. Our toast message is visible, and now if you go to that our front end, if you now refresh it, and you can see automatically this part is also successfully updated. And also if you go to that our database for the slider, that should be also updated in here. That is our slider table, and you can see there is a title is successfully updated. But also very interactive one of the things I will share that things with you. Here if you don't want to update these informations from to this our backend, you can also update it in here. That will be just like WordPress Elementor, and like from here actually you don't need to update that things from to the backend. From to this position you can also able to update it. Like here when you change something, you change it, click it, then automatically it's already updated. Like if you go again and if you now refresh it, and you can see that is successfully updated. Same as for the description. If you want to change that descriptions from here, like I just name it as a Aryan. There is a new one I successfully added here. If you want to add that new one as a Aryan, and if you click it as enter, both of this information is successfully updated. You don't need to go to that your backend. Here if you now go to that our database, and you can see that is successfully updated. That means from to this backend you can actually update it, and also from to the same page here if you want to update, you can actually update, which is very interactive one of the things. So image you can actually update it. There is a multiple features functionality here. There is the features, that is also another part as all features. So that is all features actually comes from to this our backend. From here if you want to edit it, you can actually edit it. If you want to delete it, you can also able to delete it. So that is all that features is comes from to the database, and now that is successfully visible in particular that area. That is also totally dynamic, and if you want to change that our name, you can also change it from here. Okay, you can see if you change anything, automatically that will be also updated. Like here I make it as a new, as a I put it as a 1, and now if you click as a here, automatically that is updated. If you now still refresh it, and you can see that is successfully updated into this our database. Very interactive. One of the things I will share that things with you here. This part that is also comes from to the our backend. From to this backend, you can actually manage this functionality. That is a clarification, the usability, the connect setup. That is all connect. That is a multiple connect setup, and this connect actually comes from here. Here, if you go, that is actually also comes from to our database, and that is a 3 type of things. Like here, if you want to update it, you can actually update it. If you want to make changes in anything in here, then also that will be updated. If you want to change it, then all that information that should be also updated into this our database. So it's very advanced level. One of the things with using that simple JavaScript, how can actually add this type of one of the functionality. I will show you that things with a live example. Like right now I have already changed it, automatically there is updated. If you now refresh it, you can see still now that is updated. It because of all this information is updated in our database. And if you also refresh it, and you can see that is successfully also updated, because this data, whatever the things you will be changes, this will be updated in our database. Then I will also discuss about the review functionality. So for the review, how can add some of the review setup. That is all that our review. If you want to add some of the review, you can actually add that review. So each and everything I will show you with the live example. So that will be one of the basic projects. So if you are the beginner, so that will be very helpful for you. Okay, so now then review, this section is also comes from to this our database. That means from to the backend, you can actually able to manage it. Here, if you want to change something, information, so you can actually change it. And that is also another one. If you want to change it, you can actually change it. And that is some of the FAQs functionality. And this functionality is also dynamic. Here from to the backend, they have also another option for the all FAQs. So that is our FAQs related description. Now that is also successfully visible. And here, not only that, here I have also discussed about that things with you. Like here, if you want to update the title, so from here you can actually update this title. If you want to update the description, you can also able to update the description. And also from to the same page, that means in our Frontend, here if you want to also change that our images, you can also change it. Like right now, that is one of the image. I want to change this image, and you can see this image is automatically updated. That means still now if you refresh it, that will be its display our that image. That means that is also successfully stored into this our database. How you can do this type of one of the functionality, I will show you that things with the live example. Okay, so it's very interactive. If you want to change that image, you can actually change it. If you want to change the title into this Frontend, here you can change it. If you want to change the description, you can also able to change it. So this type of one of the advanced things I will cover, and that is our footer sections. And if you go to that our team, that is one of our page as a team page, and for the team, that is a multiple team is member is in here. That is all that total dynamic data, and that is the things you can manage it from to this your backend. And that is a team setup. That is right now they have the 4 team. If you want to edit it, you can actually edit it as per your demand. Then automatically this will be also updated in here. Like I want to update it as a Kazi Aryan, and now I simply update it, click as a save changes. That is successfully updated. If you now go into this team page, refresh it, now that is successfully updated that name. Okay, and also this part is totally dynamic. Here if you want to change anything, then that will be automatically updated. And then that is our about us page. This about us page, that is also another page. How can put this link, how can create different type of route and route related one of the page, how can load it, everything I will show you with the live example. And this part is also dynamic. Here this part is also comes from to this our backend, and from to the backend there is also another interactive things. I will share that things with you. Like here if you go to that our about page setup, and into this page setup area I will also load one of the editor. So into this editor area, if you want to put some of the interactive things, if you want to make it as a bold, if you want to make it as a italic, then that is actually one of the updated editor. And throughout this editor here, you can also able to update this information. So if you now refresh it, and you can see that is also successfully updated. It's very interactive. One of the things, how you can load some of the editor, very advanced level one of the editor. If you want to set up it, how you can do this work, how you can dealing with it, how you can update this information, how you can add this information throughout this editor. Everything I will show you with the live example. And then also that is our about us page. The about us page, this information is also totally dynamic. You can see I have already updated the Kazarian, that is visible here. If you want to change something in here for the FAQs, that is also, you can actually change it, all that your FAQs that should be displayed, and this data is also totally dynamic. Okay, so that is our about us page, that is our team page. So that is a total on the team page. That have also on the blog page. Here if you go, there has some of the blog and blog related, they have some of the multiple category. In particular this blog area, how many posts is that is also successfully visible. Like as a technology related, they have the 2 posts, and development related, they have the 1 post. And this also is totally dynamic. Everything actually comes from to this our database. Right now there is a 3 is successfully visible, and here if you go to our blog, there is a blog setup, there is a blog category. So here you can actually create some of the category. If you want to add some of the category, you can actually add this category. If you want to edit this category, you can also able to edit this category, and also if you want to delete it, you can able to delete it. And then there is our blog post, that is our all blog post. Here if you want to add some of the blog post, you can actually select the category, post title, the post description, add the post images, and this all that information that should be displayed like that way. And here also if you go to our post details page, here if you click it, then that should be redirect to our post details page. Our details title is visible, and for the details here you can see this post related our created time, the title, the total description, how can create the some of the SEO friendly URL. So that is by the Slack, okay, specific this Slack related, how can create some of the URL like this. I will also show you that things with the live example. And also the category related, like there is one of the category. If this category, if you click it, specific this category related as a technology category, and this category related how many posts is there have, that will be successfully loaded. So multiple very basic and advanced things I have actually covered in particular that project. So this project is for the beginner student. So if you are that just want to start it with the Laravel, so from to the scratch with using that Laravel 12, how you can actually develop this type of one of the complete professional web application, how you can create this type of one of the very clean and good looking complete dynamic company website. I hope this project will be very much helpful for you. Okay, so that is one of the beginner friendly student project. So here, as I told you, if you are just the beginner, if you want to start it with the Laravel and using the Laravel, how can create some of the dynamic web application from to the scratch with using that also backend. That should be some of the backend, that should be some of the front end, how can handle everything. So everything step by step I will show you with the live example. And also I will discuss about that authentication system. So that is our user is logging, that is our user logging page, that is a logout functionality, that is a logging, and that is our register page. So everything I will share with you with the live example. I hope this project will be very helpful for you if you are the beginner. So if you are excited to build this type of one of the complete project from to the scratch, let's get started. Hello friend, welcome back. From to this video, we will start our basic project journey. And now step by step, we will create one complete dynamic project. How we can create some of the dynamic project using that Laravel. Step by step, everything will be very clear to you. So first of all, start that our project, some of the essential setup you must have to be installed. Like right now, first of all, our one of the local server will be needed. So for the local server, I will use that XAMPP. So if you want to use that as a WAMP, it's totally fine. But right now, I want to use it as a XAMPP. So XAMPP is one of the local server, and throughout this server, we will run that our Laravel application. So if you don't have that XAMPP, simply go to that this official website, the XAMPP website, and from here you can download it for the Windows. You can also, if you want to download it for the Mac, if you want to download it for the Linux, you can also able to download it. So which type of PHP version you want to use? Simply here, if you want to use it as a PHP 8.2, click it into the download, and that will be downloaded one of the 149 megabyte file that will be downloaded, and then you have to install it. And after that install, you will get this type of one of the interface. Like right now here, first things we have to do, that is one of the Apache, and also that is another is a MySQL. So first of all, you have to make it both of these as a start. Like right now, that is a stop. Now there is you have to make it as a Apache. Apache should be as a start, and also the MySQL that should be as a start. Okay, make that sure you run both of these. Now you can able to access it as a MySQL, because for the database I will use it as a MySQL, and that is our Apache. Both of this is running, which is fine. So that will be our first thing. Then we have to also install another thing. Another will be as a Node.js. Simply go to that Node.js official website. From here you have to go to the download, and from here you can download it for the Windows, Mac and Linux. Make that sure you simply download it and also install it in your system. That is very easy. One of the things, simply step-by-step process, then you can able to download it. So here after the download, if you want to check it's successfully installed or not, you can check it in your command prompt. If you go to your project, if you go to that that means in your system command prompt, and into this command prompt area, if you write down as a node, and then that will be as a V. Now click as a enter. Right now you can see I have already installed it. I am using that node version as a node 20, 12 and 2. So if you are using that latest version as a running as a LTS version as a 22.14, that is totally fine. So throughout this Node.js, we will install all that our dependency. So everything will be very clear to you later. But right now, make that sure, simply go to that Node.js, and from here you have to download it and install it in your system. That is one of the exe. Here you have to install it. And after that install, also you can check it throughout that Node V. That means which version you are using. Then that will be displayed like that way, rather than if there have any issues for installing that Node.js in your system, that will be not displayed. So that is very basic. One of the things, make that sure you install it. Another things that will be needed as a composer. If you go to that our get composer, that is one of the dependency manager for the PHP. Because as you already know, Laravel is a PHP framework. So here we have to also use it as a composer. Throughout this composer, we will install all that Laravel essential everything. So make that sure you go to that get composer. From here you have to go to the download, and into this download area you will get this type of one of the link as a composer setup.exe. That means here when you click it, that will be download one of the composer setup.exe file. Simply click into this exe file, that will be downloaded in here download. So here you have to download and install it, and that is simply step-by-step process. Then that will be installed. And after that install, if you also want to check it your composer is successfully installed or not, you can also check it. Simply again open that your command prompt, that is in your system command prompt. Okay, and here you have to run it as a composer and then the V. That means composer version. So right now I have already installed it, and that is the reasons it's now successfully visible. Right now I'm using that composer version as a 2.7.6, but right now current version as a 2.8, which is really fine. I think that will be not an issue. Right now I'm using the 2.6. So here if you install that composer successfully, then you can able to access that version. Rather than that will be not display anything. Okay, so make that sure that will be needed. So that's all here, that initialize things. Okay, here make that sure you install that node, make that sure you install that composer, and also most important, that is our XAMPP. Okay, and for the editor also will be needed. For the editor you can use it as simple the VS, that is a sublink text editor. If you want to use it, that's totally fine. You can also use it. Rather than you can also use it as a VS code editor. Both of these is totally free if you go to that Google, and here if you search it with the VS Code Editor, that means VS Studio Code Editor, here if you go, that is their official website. Simply go there. From here you have to download it. You can also download that things for the Windows, Mac, and for the Linux. It's very popular, one of the editor. You can simply download it and install it, and after that install you will get this type of one of the interface. So that will be totally fine if you are using that VS Code Editor rather than if you want to use that Sublink Text Editor. Both of these will be executed perfectly. Okay, but for now I will use, for particular this project, I will use that VS Code Editor, which is really great. So that is all that our essential things. Here you have to install it for start that project. Okay, here also I want to share another things with you. When you install that XAMPP, you may also get this type of one of the folder. That means when you install it in your system, I have already installed it by the name as a XAMPP, and into this XAMPP area, that is our htdocs, that is one of the root directory. Here into this root directory area, you can actually create all that your project. And also when you install that XAMPP, you can also able to access that your local host. So that will be as a local host. Then that will be returned direct to your localhost dashboard. And into this localhost dashboard, you will get two things. One is the PHP info. That means if you click it, right now I am using that PHP version 8.2.4, which is very important. So when you download our XAMPP, I will recommend it to download as a 8.2 or 8.3, whatever you choose. But right now I am using that 8.2.4. That is totally fine. And also here another things you will be get that will be as a PHP my admin. So that will be only display when you install successfully the XAMPP and also when you run your Apache and MySQL. And that is our PHP my admin. All that our database related everything, we will generate everything in here. So throughout that Laravel, we will insert this data into this our database. That will be one of the MySQL database, and in here we can edit this data, we can update this data, we can fetch all that data. So lot of things we will actually insert everything in our database area, and we will display all the things in our front end. So database is very important, one of the things. So here you create some of the database table. First of all, we have to create the database. We have to create the different type of database table. So step by step, everything will be very clear to you. Don't worry about it. But here I simply make all the things as a familiar to you. So that is a PHP my admin that will be needed. Right now I'm using that PHP version 8.2, which is fine. So if you set up everything perfectly, now we are ready to go and install that Laravel, one of the new project. So how can you install one of the Laravel latest project as a Laravel 12? How can you install that Laravel in your system? From to the next video, step by step, I will show you everything with the live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, we initialized set up everything like as our VS Code Editor, our XAMPP, and then Node.js, and also the Get Composer. Everything is really great. Now friend, I want to create one of the new project as a Laravel new project. For doing this, I want to go to that Laravel, that is a Laravel official website as a laravel.com. And now from here, we have to go to our documentation. And right now Laravel 12 is recently released. Now we will develop everything from the scratch. And for this creating that project, I will use that Laravel 12. Okay, Laravel 12 is the latest version. Now we will use that Laravel 12. So first of all, how can create some of the Laravel project? For doing this, we have to go to that documentation, and from here we have to go to that installation. That is the installation by default page as a getting started as installation. And into this installations area, if you already, I also want to share one things with you. If you already familiar with the Laravel 9, 10 and 11 especially, so that is they have the no changes in Laravel 12. That is pretty much the same things. Now everything step by step also will be very clear to you. Don't worry about it. Now I want to create another new project. So for creating this project, here we have to go to that installation, and then here we have to create a Laravel application. Here if when you click it, then first things here we have to install that that is a Composer global required Laravel installer. So that is the first commands we have to do. We have to run it. So now I have actually created one of the new folder in my desktop. I have created one of the new folder as a Laravel, and in particular this Laravel folder area, I will create one of the new fresh project. As I told you, from to the scratch everything I will start. Now into this our Laravel folder, I want to open with the cmd. That is one of the command prompt, and here if you actually noticed, in my desktop I have created one of the new folder as a Laravel folder, and into this folder area now I want to create one of the new Laravel 12 project. For doing this, we have to first of all run this command. Better I copy it and then I want to open it, and here I want to run it as a composer global require Laravel installer. Now click as the enter. Now that will be actually download everything from to the internet. Make that sure you are connected with the internet. And it's very light, and you can see installer is successfully installed. And now our next step will be we have to create one of the project. All the documentations, everything is already in here. Now one by one we have to flow it. Now that is our Laravel create project. So I copy it the same place. That means in our particular the same folder area, I have already installed that our Laravel installer, and now I want to create another new project. So that will be our Laravel new, and that will be your project name. What type of project you want to create, you can actually add that your project name. For now I want to name it as a basic. Okay, BASIC. That will be our project name. Now that means it should be now created on the new folder in here as a basic. Now click as a enter. Now that will be download everything from to the internet, and also it will be ask you some of the things in Laravel 12. So here if you want to install it Laravel with the React, with the view, with the liveware, so you can also select it. But right now here for this project I will use that one of the Bootstrap theme. I don't want to use any React the start kit. I don't want to use any view start kit and all the library start kit. Here I want to make it as a none. I write down as a none. Okay, that will be as a none. Now click as a enter. Now by default is suggested which framework do you prefer, as a paste or PHP init. They are also suggested as a paste, so you can also use it as a 0. 0 is for the paste. I want to add it as a 0. Click as a enter. Now it will be download everything. Okay, you can see it started to download everything from to the internet. So make that sure you are connected with the internet. So now it's also created one of the folder name as per I have actually added as a basic. Now that will be download everything from the internet, and multiple file that should be included into this our basic folder. So better when that will be done, that will be actually take some of the time. So here when that will be done, I will come back again. Now that will be ask you another question. Which database will your application use? If you want to use that SQLite, you can use it. You can use that as a MySQL, the MarineDB, the Post, and that is a SQL server. So now I want to actually install that. I want to access that on MySQL. As I told you, for the database, I will use that PHP, that is a PHPMyAdmin as a MySQL. I want to use it. So here I want to select it as a MySQL, MySQL. Okay, that will be as a MySQL. Now click as a enter. Now also that is the most important, another things as a default, that is our database updated. So by default Laravel 12 also will be created on the new database in your PHPMyAdmin. If you go to our database, here right now I have already some of the database in here. Now I have already created one of the project name as a basic. So that will be it will be created one of the default Laravel, that means default database by your project name. So that is actually the message as a default database updated. Would you like to run the default database migration? You can use it as a yes, rather than if you don't want to use it, you can also use it as a no. So if you make it as a no, manually from to this position here, we have to use one of the database name, and you have to create it. But now I don't want to actually create these things like that way. Here default I want to use it, so I make it as a yes. Now click as a enter. Now that will be created one of the database. You can see it's will be created on the database name by the name as a basic. That means here now that should be another new database that should be created as a basic. Now it's also downloading everything. You can see it's also download everything, so it's also may take little time. Better when that will be done, I will come back again. And here you can see everything is download one by one successfully. Now that will be ask you another question as would you like to run npm install and npm run build? And that is the npm one of the node module. As I told you, all that our dependency, we will use it into this by this our node. So here I also want to recommend it to make it as a ES, and by default they are also suggested as a ES. So I make it as a ES. Now click as a enter. So that's the last thing that you have to actually execute. Now I make it as a yes. Now that should be also download everything again, and it should be completed our total applications throughout this. Let's check this out. Yes, you can see everything is totally fine. Here I make it as a yes. Now that is also installed, that our npm install and npm run build. If both of these will be executed, and now that is a bit, everything is installed successfully. Okay, you can now start your local and development using that cd basic. That means we have to change that our directory to this our basic folder. Then you can actually run it as a composer run dev. Rather than you can also run it throughout this project as a php artisan and then serve. So here now everything is fine. That's all you have to do. And now if you go to that our project into this area, that is our basic folder. So that is a basic folder area. You can see it's actually now download all that our essential Laravel default file, and everything is in here. Okay, and also now if you go to that our database, if you now refresh this database, now it's also created another new database by the name as a basic, and you can see by default it's already added all that our migrations file is in here. So by default that is created as a user table. So that is a user table, and everything actually in particular that position, which is really great. And now if you want to run this project, what exactly you have to do? Simply here now you can actually access it in two different ways. Right now we are already into this our Laravel folder. That means that is our Laravel folder, and in here I have created our project name as a basic. So we have to go to that our change directory by the name as a cd, and we have to pass that our next project name as a basic. Now click as a enter. Now you can see it's now redirect to our Laravel to our basic. So you can also redirect it to like that way. Rather than you can also close it. I simply close it, and we have to go to particular this basic folder, and in here again if you run with the cmd, now you can see the same things. That is a desktop, Laravel, and that is the basic. And here if you write down as a php artisan and then the artisan and then the serve. Here if you click as a enter, now that will be running your total Laravel application throughout one of the port as a 10108000. I copy it, and now if you go to that your browser, here if you paste it, yes, you can see Laravel 12 is installed successfully. Okay, so how that Laravel actually work, better I want to continue this process. In our next video I will share this all that file structure, how that things actually executed. So better I want to take this that is a basic project into this our VS Code editor. So here if you want to do this work, in that case we have to simply run again with the cmd. I just run that our cmd, that is our basic folder, and here if you want to run your folder from to these positions to the VS Code editor, in that case we have to write down as a code and then the space, and that is a dot. Now click as a enter. Now that should be run that things in our Visual Studio Code editor. Here I make it as a yes, I trash this author, and you can see all that our file is structured that I have already installed it. Everything is in here, and our project name as a basic folder. Great. Now friend, I want to, before starting that our total multiple things, I want to share some of the essential all the file structure, how that Laravel file structure actually work. So in our next video I will share that things with you. So I hope that will help you a lot. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello friend, welcome back. In your previous video, we successfully able to create one of the new Laravel application, and that is successfully created in here. and now we can able to access it throughout that our 126.0.0 and 8000 port. This is the port we can able to access it when you run it as a PHP artisan serve. So if you actually close this application, then this application will be not executed. If you close it and now if you refresh it, that will be not work. You can see there is a site cannot be reached. That means always you have to run it as a serve. So here again I want to open with the CMD and I write down as a PHP artisan and then the serve. Now click as a enter. Now again that will be the same port, and into this port area when this will be actually executed, and then our application you can able to access it. Great. And also our database is ready as a basic, which Laravel also default provided in my MySQL. That is the database name as a basic. Great. So how that Laravel, all that file structure actually work. Now in this video I want to share that things with you. Like here, if you go to that our project, first and most important things as a .env. So throughout that .env, here you can actually update your application name. Laravel default provided that application name as a Laravel, and here that is actually your database connection. As I before, I hope you already remember when I installed that Laravel, I have selected as a MySQL. And you can see there is a DB connection is right now as a MySQL, and host name by default that is actually provided. Port name is by default one, database name as a basic. Because here I have already created that our database name as a basic, and that is the basic is right now in here. And that is the username and then the password. So right now in my local host, that is our PHP my admin. Into this PHP my admin, right now my local host as they have the no password. So that is the reason is display as a BB password as a empty, and username by default as a root. So that is the reason is display as a root. You will also get this information here if you go to that your account, and into this account area you can see as a username by default as a root, and password I don't have any password. So that is actually default one. Here I want to simply update. So by default that is already in here. And also here you will get that your mail configuration if you want to set up any type of SMTP mail configuration, which I will also share that things with you. So that is from here you can actually set up your mail configuration. So it's very important, one of the things that is a .env. And here if you go to that our route, into the route that you will also get one of the web.php, and that is most important here. Throughout this we can actually manage our total route. Like here if you actually check it, like there is a route, that is one of the route. Into this route area, that is our slash mean home, and into this home function which view page actually loaded, that is a return view, one of the welcome page is loaded. And that is the view, all that page you can actually access it from to the resources, and that is our views folder. And here you can see there is a welcome blade.php. So Laravel actually accessing everything with the blade syntax, that will be a .blade.php. Okay, and if you open it, and that is one of the file, and that is the file right now actually loaded in here. Okay, so that is actually our view file. So here simply all that process here, first of all that is our web.php. For the home route, I simply that is a default one of the page is loaded in here, that will be actually return on the view, and that will be welcome view, that means welcome page, and that is the welcome page in our view area, all that our view file that will be in here. Great. And public, that is also another folder as a public folder, and into this public folder area, whatever the like here, if you want to use some of the different type of theme, all that your theme related asset file, that means images, JS, CSS, everything actually we have to add it in particular this file, that means this folder as a public folder. Here you have to add it. And also that is our node module. So literally if you use different type of packages in your Laravel project, all that your dependency that will be installed in particular this folder as a node module. So that is the reason our node is important. So here now it's by default is created, which is really great. And that is our database. Into this database area, you will get that migration. Laravel also provided default multiple table, like as a user table, and that is a user table related all that field. field by default as a name, email verified, and the password. And if you go, when I created that our basic for our there is a database, and into this database area you can see that is actually one of the user table, and in here that is the name, email verified, the password. Okay, so that is actually our table. This table, call it as a migration. So literally when I will create some of the multiple table, we will create everything throughout this our migration. Okay, so here from to this position we can handle that our database and database related all that our field we have to assign it in here. Great. And then another things as a config, and into this config file area here multiple default application. Here throughout this you can actually access it. There is a app, that is the auth related file, Laravel, all that our guard, Laravel by default using one of the guard as a web guard. So everything is in here. There is our database, the file system, the logging information, the mail. So that is all that ready-made, everything you will get it in here. But most important that is the bootstrap, and bootstrap is used for when in Laravel, especially in Laravel 11 and 12, all that your middleware, if you actually create some of the different type of middleware, all that your middleware that will be generated into this our bootstrap folder, and into this bootstrap area that is our application. And you can see Laravel also provided default some of the middleware like as the auth middleware. Throughout this auth middleware that will be actually assign it which that user is logging or not. So if you actually create the different type of middleware, you can actually handle it through all that middleware throughout that bootstrap. And then another file as a app, and into this app area you will get two things. One is the HTTP and the controllers. So by default that is all that our controller, everything we can actually create this controller from to this our controller, and that is the controller you can able to access it throughout this our app, and then that will be HTTP. And all that our model is which one? When you create some of the database table, first of all we have to create two things. One is our model, and throughout this model, like right now Laravel provided default one of the model as a user model, and user model is related with our user table. So two things will be important, that is our model is important, and model related we have to create that our migration. That means here throughout this model you can assign some of the database table name, and into this table area which type of field you want to add, you have to assign all that field in here. So that is very interconnected one of the things. I hope you get some point. Don't worry, everything I will use it multiple times, step by step, everything will be very clear to you. So that is most important, all that things. Okay, and also they have some of the packages, that means the package JSON, and if you go to that our package JSON, what type of dependency you will install, all that your dependency you can able to access it from here. And also another one as a composer.json, and composer.json area, whatever the new packages you will install, that will be also display that things in here. Like right now we are using that Laravel framework, and that is already installed as a 12, and my PHP version right now I'm using as a 8.2. Okay, and that is also the git ignore. If you actually push this code to the GitHub, so into this GitHub area, some of the which file you don't want to push it, you can actually assign everything in here. Like right now there is a slash as a node module, that means our node module, that is the folder. This will be not pushed to the git. So if you also want to share that node module, here you have to simply remove it. Okay, so right now when that will be as a commented, then that will be totally fine as a node module. So that is essential, all that file, and rest of everything is not important. I hope you get some idea. One which is actually very important, that will be our app, HTTP, and that is a controller. Throughout this we can handle all that our function, all that our database related table, we can handle it throughout this our model, and also the database migration. Here throughout this we can handle that our database related table and the field, and then our resources will be for display all that our view page. Okay, that will be all that our HTML view page, that means which that should be display in your front end. That will be our view related, everything we have to add it into this our resources and view folder, and all that our route we have to handle it throughout this our web.php. So that's the essential things. I hope you get some point. So literally in every for our everything, we will create multiple controller, we will create multiple table as per our project demand. Okay, so everything will be very clear. Don't worry about it. So now in our next video, I have already installed one of the Laravel project, but now I also want to install that Laravel, one of the default authentication system. Laravel also provided the default some of the authentication system. In Laravel 12, actually is provided by the name as a start kit. And if you actually use that as a start kit here, you can actually use it as a React, Vue and Liveware. But right now, I don't want to use it like that way. Here, I want to use Laravel also provided another default authentication as a breeze, and throughout that breeze you can also able to create that logging, register, authentication, the forget password, reset password, everything you can actually handle it. Everything is ready made. Now only you have to install it. So how can you install that breeze in Laravel 12? In our next video I will show you that things with a live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, we are successfully created one of the Laravel 12 project, and now that is very clean. Now friend, in this video, I want to install that Laravel default one of the authentication, and that is the default authentication will be as a Laravel breeze. So here, as I told you, Laravel 12 also provided that starter kit, and throughout that starter kit, you can also by default that will be one of the default authentication will be added, but that will be added for the React rather than that will be with the Vue or the Liveware. But now I don't want to use it. Here, simple, the breeze I want to install it. So in Laravel 12, there is a breeze, actually you will get it into the packages, but here in Laravel 12, that is not available in here. So if you want to actually find out that Laravel breeze, in that case, we have to go to that simply again, but that will be also the same for the Laravel 12. Here if you go select it as a Laravel 11, and now again if you go to the documentation, into the documentation area, if you go to that packages, and you can see that is a breeze. So here now I want to install that breeze. So breeze actually that will be look like this. Here now I want to install it. So here if you want to install it, first command that we have to run it as a composer required Laravel and then Laravel breeze dev. Here now I want to copy it, and before adding install that breeze, also I want to change that our migrations file. Migrations file I want to change it means here if you go to that our database table, into the database table when I install that Laravel also provided one of the default table as a user table, and into this user table they have some of the default field. Right, but for that our project I also want to add some of the another essential field. How can do this work? Simply step by step flow my all that lecture. If you are the beginner in Laravel, so that will be very clear to you. So here in that case we have to go to that our migration. As I told you here, the two things will be needed when you are dealing with the any kinds of database. One of the model, by default Laravel provided one of the user model, so that is a user, and also that table, that means that will be our table name. Here there is user, and you can see that will be added on the plural as users, and also this user related field you can actually manage it from to the database, the migration, and that is our migrations field. So here now I want to assign another field. Like by default we will get that our name field, we will get that our email field, and then email verification and the password. So now also I want to add another essential field. I copy it and here I paste it. Okay, now I simply take it. Like first of all I want to assign one of the field as a photo, because user can able to change their own profile. So profile related photo I want to use it, and also I want to make this field that will be as a nullable. Okay, I name it as a nullable, so that will be as a nullable. That means if this field don't have any data, then that will be totally fine. And then I want to take another field and I just name it as a phone. That will be as a phone. I want to take another field name that will be as a address, and both of these I also want to make it as a nullable. This will be also as a nullable. Okay, and here you can also assign some of the role if you want, but right now I want to use it. I make it as a role, and role area default value. So that is actually needed when you're dealing with the multiple role, but right now for this project actually that will be not needed, but I also want to add another field like as a role, and into this role area default I want to use some of the default value, default that will be inserted as a user. Okay, here I simply load it. And then I want to take same another field as status, and throughout this status I want to make another default value, and default value I added one of the initialized default value as a 1. So I just want to predict it that things like that way. 1 is for the active, and when that will be as a 0, then that will be as a deactive. So with this we can actually define this calculation, that means define this function. Right now that's all that field I want to do and to take it. So initially I have added another field as a photo, that is a phone, photo, address, role, and status. That's all. So now that will be another field I have added, and also when you add that multiple field we have to also assign it. We have to assign it into this our model. If you go to that our model, and that is a user model, and also here we have to make it as a fieldable. So in that case, by default, Laravel user table area, that one of the field as a name field, email field, and password field. Now also I have added another field as a photo. That means here we have to also assign it like that way as a photo, or another field I have added as a phone. So here all that field one by one you have to add it. That means all that field that should be as a fieldable. Okay, but we can also do another job. I just want to better use the second one. Here I want to do and to make it as empty. Okay, that will be as a protected, and that is also another function we have to call it as a guarded. Okay, guarded. When you make it as a guarded, and when that will be as a protected guarded as an empty array, it actually means whatever the field you will be added in here into this your database user table, all that field now that should be as a fieldable. So here you can actually do this work with using simply the guarded. So I make it as that will be protected guarded, all that our field now that should be as a protected, that means fieldable. Okay, so here make that sure you update. I simply update that our user, and that is how I have added some of the essential another field ID. string I make it as a this type will be as a string type. At the phone I make it as a string type. Address, if you want to make it as a multiple address text, then you can also use it as a text type. Okay, that will be the text type. So by default, when you use it as a string, it will be get that as a 255 character. When you make it as a text, then you can actually add that multiple character in particular that area. So that is one of the text type. And there is a role, I make it as a string. Status also I make it as a string. Default value that will be user, and default value that will be as a 1. Great. Now I want to go back to that install our another things. Right now that's all you have to do. Now I want to install that our breeze. So now if you go to that our project, and into the project area I want to go back here, that is our command line. We have to run it as a breeze, as a composer required Laravel breeze. I copy it, and now I want to go back to that our one as a terminal is running, as a PHP artisan serve is running. Better I also want to do and to load this our terminal from here. I simply open it from the VS Code editor. Rather than you may also do another job like here, same things here. You can actually run another CMD. So from here the same things. Okay, that is our Laravel basic, where I have already run one of our project with the PHP artisan serve is running in here. Okay, you can run this your terminal from to this position, or rather than if you want to run this your terminal from to this your VS Code editor, you can see exactly the same things. So now here I want to install it throughout that our VS Code editor. There is a terminal as a composer required Laravel breeze dev. Now click as enter. Now that should be installed one by one. That will be install it, and that is very light. That should be install it fast. And here after that, there is another process we have to work it, and you can see everything is successfully installed. Great. And now after that we need to run another command that will be as a PHP artisan breeze install. So here I want to copy it, and when you run it as a PHP Artisan Breeze install, then that will be actually created multiple things in our HTTP, in our app folder. That will be created some of the file into this our route area, that is a web dot with the hub. That should be also created some of the different type of route. Okay, and also in our resources, in our view page, that will be also created different type of folder and file structure. I show you now. If you make it as a PHP Artisan Breeze install, now click as enter. Now that will be ask you what type of interface you are using. So I will use that our blade syntax as a Laravel blade syntax. So here I want to select it as a blade. That will be as a blade, BLADE. Now click as enter. And would you like to use that dark mode? I make it as a no. Then same as a paste. I name it as a 0 only, because that will be by default they are suggested as a paste at base value as a 0. So I make it as a 0 in here, and now click as enter. Now I think that's all. Okay, now that will be actually generated all the essential things. And also, as I told you, that will be created multiple file structure in particular that position. So you can see it's very light. One of the things is downloaded everything from to the internet. Make that sure you are connected with the internet. And here you can see it's everything is installed successfully. So when that will be done, and it's also show as a Breeze scaffolding installed successfully. That means everything is installed perfect, and it's now returned direct to our basic, which is fine. And now I want to share that things with you, what type of things that will be actually added. If you go to that now in our app, into this our HTTP, that is our controller, and into this controller area you can see it's created one of the default controller as a profile controller. It's created some of the auth folder, and into this auth folder area they have some of the default multiple functionality pages actually created in here. Okay, so that is actually all that ready-made as I told you. And now if you go to our view, into this view area in our resources view, it's created one of the folder as a auth folder, where you can able to access that our login page, register page, reset password page, verify email page, and confirm password page. Okay, and also there is a dashboard layout related everything, the component, all that file. Okay, all that file structure, that is a default file structure is actually generated. And now also I want to migrate it again, because before I have already migrated that our database. Now I have already added some of the essential field in here, right? So now I want to run another command. Then that will be actually migrate and refresh all that are migrate. That means our old all that table that will be deleted, and again that will be actually migrate. So here if you want to do this work, if you go to our documentation, you can see it's actually created the PHP Artisan migrate. So I have already updated some of the things, field name in our table. So better here I want to open that our terminal. So that is our terminal, and in here I want to run that as a PHP Artisan migrate and then refresh. Okay, so here throughout this, that will be do as I told you, that will be remove all that our existing table from to this our database, and then again that will be migrate all that our field. And now if you click as a enter, now you can see it's first of all actually execute one thing as a drop all that our table. That means our existing table is all that table is drop. Again it's creating that our migrations table, and that is our recent migrations table is successfully updated. And now if you go to that our database, and now here if you go to that, I want to refresh it, and now if you go to that our user, and you can see into this our user table I have already assigned some of the essential another field as a photo, phone, address, role, and status, right? Everything is great. And now if you go to that our project, and if you now refresh it, yes, you can see that is a Breeze is successfully installed, and now that is successfully displayed as a locking button and the register button. If you go to that our locking page, and that will be our locking page, you can see that is our /locking. And if you go to that our register page, now that is a register page is also successfully created. Okay, and everything actually is in here. And not only that, our login register, that is our forget password. So now we can also able to handle that our forget password. So that is all that our page is actually comes from here. Now I want to better close it. If you go to that our resources view into this auth, and you can see that have one of the default locking page actually Breeze actually created, that is our register page. That means here when you go to that our register as a slash and then the register, and that is actually our register page, and this page actually comes from here. Okay, comes from this our resources view, and there is a auth, and that is a register, the reset password page, for confirm password page, forget password page, everything is actually ready made. And not only that, if you want to create now one of the new user, you can also able to create it. Like here, I name it one of the name as a user. Email, I use it as a user@gmail.com. Password, I want to use it as udemy12345, and confirm password udemy12345. And now after that, if you click as a register, now that should be create one of the new user. I can see it's getting one of the issues as a column not found, unknown as a password field list. MySQL into this our user has a password updated. Here if you go, I want to check it. That is our password. You can see I actually removed that our password field. I understand. Here if you go again, I want to go to that our migration. That means here if you go to that our database and the migration, that is a user. You can see I actually removed that our password field. That is actually important one, so I copy it and now I want to paste it, so that will be our default one. So it's very important. Here I have actually removed it. Here also that should be another field name as a password. Okay, password, which I have, that was actually in here, but I maybe I remove it. So now make that sure that should be another password, and but another field as a photo, phone, address, role, and status. Fine, I click as a save all, and now again I want to run the same command as a php artisan migrate and refresh. Now click as a enter. Now that will be again drop all that our table, and then it will be migrations again. Now if you go back, I want to go here again. Now if you go to that our user table, yes, now you can see there is another field is available as a default field as a password, and then our rest of all that field. Now I want to check it again. If you now go back here, I want to refresh that our register page, and here I want to use it again as a user, and that will be the user@gmail.com. okay, I want to use it as a gmail.com, and password udemy12345, confirm password udemy12345, which is fine. Now click as a register. Now yes, you can see that is a new registration is successfully completed. Now you can able to access that our slash dashboard. And now if you go to that our user table, refresh it, yes, new that is successfully created. New user is successfully created in our user table by the name as a user. Email is successfully inserted, and password, you can see by default that is actually provided the hash password. So password field area, password is now successfully inserted, and then that is our photo, phone, address, the role I have already assigned it by default as a user, status I have also assigned it default as a 1. Right here, if you go to that our migration for the user, here you can see I have already assigned one of the field as a role field, that will be default as a user, and for the status field default value I have added as a 1, and that is the reason she is displayed as a role as a user and status as a 1. Great. How can actually deal with the Breeze default authentication? I hope friend the concept is very clear to you. And when you access that our slash dashboard, there have also another page. Like from here you can go to that our profile page. So that is one of the profile, and there is a profile related, everything is ready made, and also they have another option for the logout. And this page actually loaded from to this your page. Like here, if you go to that your resources, into the resources view area, that have one of the component, and into this component area there is a multiple component, and that is our default layout. So you don't need to worry about it, because here in particular that positions I will apply the different type of template. So here literally everything I will change it and I will customize it as per our demand. Okay, and also now if you go to that route, and if you go to that our web.php, and you can see when I install that Breeze also provided some of the default route, and that is all that our default route. Okay, so if you also want to check that Laravel, what type of default route he actually provided, you can also able to check it. In that case, we have to run another command, but I want to make it as a clear. And now I want to run as a PHP artisan RT and then sun, and that will be as a route, and then that will be as a list. So whatever the route default Laravel provided, now everything that will be in particular that area. You can see when you install that Laravel actually one of the frameworks. So this framework actually provided all that your default route. So that is some of the default authentications route, like as a locking route, the password route, the profile, the register, and the reset password, confirm password / dashboard. Every default route you can actually get it from to this position. Okay, so here actually that is a provided default from the Laravel Breeze authentications, and Breeze when you install it, it's also generated one of the profile controller, and into this profile controller area it's actually created some of the default route, and that is the reasons now you can able to access that our profile page, you can able to access that our dashboard page, and also you can able to log out. Everything is totally ready, you can see, which is really great. So now in our next video, I want to discuss about how can set up that our forget password throughout that email. Okay, so here I will actually set up that our SMTP setting for the mail, and how can actually reset your password, or how can manage your forget password. In our next video, I will show you that things with a live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, we are successfully able to set up our Breeze authentication. How can do this work? I hope it's very clear to you, which is fine. Now friend, in this video, I want to do into this our Breeze. That means when you install that Breeze also provided some of the login page, register page, and each and everything is totally ready-made. And also we are able to create one of the new user, and that is the user I have registered it by the name as the user@gmail.com. Now also actually that is provided rest of everything actually ready-made, like as a forget password. Okay, there is a reset password. Everything is already ready-made. And here if you go to that our project, I have already shared that things with you. When you install that Breeze also provided some of the different type of ready-made route, right? And also if you go to that our route list, when I run as a PHP artisan route list, and that is all that our default route is already ready-made in here. And here you can see there is also another route as a forget password, there is a forget password, there is a locking route, there is a logout route, the password, and also it's also displayed from where actually everything is ready-made. Like for the logout here, if you go, that is actually comes from to this our auth and authenticated a session controller and one of the destroy method. That means when you install that our Breeze, as I told you, Breeze added some of the multiple files into this our app, HTTP, and here if you go to that our controller, and that is our auth, and that is the authenticated session controller, and into this authenticated session controller, here actually you will get it. You can see that is actually our create method, and that is also another one as the store method. They have some of the destroy method. So everything is in here, and destroy method actually work for our logout functionality, because here you can also now able to log out, right? So everything actually ready-made. So now in this video, I want to discuss about the forget password functionality. So that is also ready-made, which is comes from to our auth and password recent link and the controller. That means in our auth, and that is actually one of the file as a password reset link. You can see reset link controller. So everything is already in here. You don't need to do anything. Like that is actually when you access it, that create, it's access that our auth, and that is our forget password in our view page. That means that you have to go to that our view into the resources view, and that is our auth, and here you can see that is actually our forget password page. And if you go to our page, and in here when you write down as a forget password, you can see that is actually our email. Here you have to add some of the email, whatever the email is exist, you have created one of the new email. So here that should be as the exist one, and from here that will be sent one of the email. So now I want to test it. It's actually successfully working or not. So here if you want to do this work, you can also use it as a Gmail or any type of third-party mail services. But right now one of the free, I want to use it as a mailtrip.io. So here you have to go to that mailtrip.io. You have to create on the simply register it. Okay. And you just simply sign up it. It's totally free. And here after that logging, you may get this type of one of the interface. And from here, you have to go to that email testing, and into this email testing, there is the inbox, and that will be, you will get this type of one of the demo inbox. And in here, first of all, we have to set up it into this our Laravel. So here, if you want to set up, we have to go to that our action, and in here, that is actually SMTP setting for your different type of things. Like I want to use it for the PHP, and here, every information actually you can get it from to this position. There is a integration system, and into this integration system there is a PHP, and PHP which one you want to use it. Like I want to use it as a Laravel 9 plus, so I select it as a Laravel 9 plus, and you can see it's actually provided some of the things information as a mail trip. There is a mailer and mail host, mail port, username and password. So you don't need to use my username and password. Here you have to go to that mailtrip.io, simply create another new user account, and then into this your account area you will get different type of username and password obviously. But here now I am selecting as a Laravel. So first of all I want to configure it. So here if you want to configure it, we have to go to that our project, and into this project area we have to go to that our .env, and into this .env we have to go, like that is actually our mail setup. Okay, so here first of all I want to set up that our mail, there is a mailer. I want to simply take it. Now I want to copy it. Our mailer will be as a SMTP. I simply copy it and I want to update. Then that will be our mail scheme. That will be, I want to use it the same. Here we don't need to change anything. And that will be as a mail scheme, the host. Okay, host will be our, now I want to use it. I want to use it our host name. Our mail host will be as a this one. I copy it. And now I want to update that host, and then the port is the 2525, which is fine. So here that is also 2525. Now we have to add that our username and password, and for the username password here I want to better copy it. I copy total things from here, and now I want to go in here. I want to better paste it. Now you can see our email, the username and password is visible. So now I want to take that our username, and here I want to update that our username, and also I want to update the password. So now that will be password. Great. So that's all you have to do. Right now this will be not needed. And now that is the email from where exactly your mail will be comes from. Like I want to use it as a hello or whatever you choose, and then I want to use my domain name as easy learning LEARNBD.com. Okay. Now from to this our mail, that will be sent this mail, and by the mail from the name, so that is an app name. So whatever the app name you will be added, like right now by default the app name as a Laravel, so that will be as a Laravel. So if you want to change it, you can also change it. Like right now I want to name it as a basic project, so that will be our basic. Okay, here I want to use it. Now our app name is the basic. Great. So friend, that's all you have to do. So now we are successfully create the established connection with our mail trip. Now if you go to that our project, and into this project area I want to go back here, and better I want to go back and refresh it. Like I have already created one of the user by the name as a user@gmail.com. But here in particular that area, I have already put one of the password, but somehow I forget this password. So how this forget password will be executed in Breeze? So in that case, we have to use it as a forget password. Which mail? I just know the mail. I don't know the password. So here that is our user mail@gmail.com. And that is the mail that should be displaying here. I want to send it as a email password reset link. I send it. Let's check this out. It's successfully working or not. Now it may take little time. It depends on your internet speed. And yes, you can see it successfully sent one of the message as a we have emailed your password reset link. And now if you go to that our mail trip, successfully we receive one of the mail to our which mail, to this our user@gmail.com. And also here you can see that is actually our app name. I have already updated as a basic. Now that is successfully also visible the basic, and that is displays a hello and easylearningbd.com. It because of all here I have already set up it. Mail should be comes from to this address as a hello@gmail hello@easylearningbd.com, and that is the reasons it now comes from to this mail. To our which mail I have already set the reset link as a user@gmail.com, and that is one of the default template that is actually provided Laravel Breeze, and that is the format is successfully loaded. And here there is also another button as a reset password. Now if you click it in here, now that should be returned direct to our localhost, and that is the reset password with one of the ID. Right, so here now that will be actually loaded this type on the ID, and you can see it's successfully visible as email. And now we have to add that our new password I want to use it as 12345678 and confirm password 12345678. So before that was as a Udemy 12345. Now I change it as a 12345. Now click as a reset password. Let's check this out. Yes, you can see it's successfully visible. Your password has been reset. Now I want to check it. I want to log in with the user. Okay, that will be the user, user@gmail.com, and password. Now before I have used it as Udemy 12345. Let's check this out. It's working or not. Now click it. You can see automatically is getting that our default credential error message as this credential do not match your record. That means for this email I have already used one of the password. Now I reset this password. Now that should be our another one. Okay, if you refresh it, now you can see it's already updated. Here I have already updated by the name as a 12345678. Now if you logged in, now that should be fine, and you are successfully able to log in. Okay friend, so everything is ready made. Don't worry here. Now one by one I have to update this everything. So that is a default one. I don't want to use it. In particular that positions how can reset the password. I hope that this concept is very clear to you. And as I told you, now you can actually log out. So that is a logout is successfully working. Okay, here there is a default one of the route is also already in particular that position. So for the logout, that is our logout is actually executed our authenticated session controller, and that is our destroy method. So great. Now I want to do from to the next video, I want to start to work for our dashboard. Like here, if you now logged in with the user. Okay, I want to log in with the user, password 12345678. Now I want to log in. In our next video, first of all, I want to work for our backend. So into this backend area, I will load another custom theme. How I can load that one of the custom things for the backend. From the next video, step by step, I will add these things in here. I hope you will like it very much. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.